Are any Browns fans clamoring for Shedeur to be humble? We talked yesterday about his comments after the game and before the game, and I told you how I liked him. I did. I liked what he said before the game. In fact, it meant more before the game, before he had actually proven himself or done anything in that game. The fact that he was willing to say it the way that he did. There was something about I don't know, it's almost like a gambler's energy that I just kind of picked up on that I loved. Something that is, and maybe this is the seedy part of myself in life, where at 15 years old, I was in bowling alleys consistently, and I was at horse tracks consistently, and I liked that part of life. That it's something I don't really do as much anymore, but I liked that part of life. But there was something I could I could latch onto with Shedeur, the way that he could bet on himself that way, and his mentality towards everything, and making that comment before he had done anything, and really coming off of what happened last week. I mean, that takes stones, Daryl. You can say a lot about it, but that takes stones.
It did, and I was certainly surprised by what he said.
You were rolling your eyes there. What happened?
No, I was surprised that he said it. I don't disagree with you. It took stones, and then right after he said it, I was like, I hope he can back it up, because he's not the first to come in here and say something like that I'm going to be the guy. I'm the guy you've been waiting for. He's not the first quarterback to do that.
Right.
And nobody has backed it up.
Well, it's been hard. It's been hard to back it up. Did Baker back it up? Do we count Baker as backing it up? Because he was the first person that I thought of.
They didn't win a playoff game with him, so I have to say he did.
And he was the first person I can think of that came in there and was like, you haven't met anybody like me, essentially. You know what I mean? And obviously there's been other people in the past, but in more recent memory, he's the one that I always go to. And I don't know. In many ways, I look at it like Baker did the job, and if he would stay here, it probably would have gone even better in years to come, I would think.
Well,
who's to say? We don't have to relitigate that.
I know. I think it just all worked out the way it was meant to work out.
And maybe that's true.
And I'm not copying out
not really for the Browns in any sort of way.
Well,
because I bet they want that back.
Yeah,
if that's the way it was supposed to work out, giving $230 million to Deshaun Watson to get injured 3 straight years in a row and then have him basically be useless to then try to get something in a 4-quarterback battle in the second year of a 3-win season, that's not the script.
I want to say something, but I'm going to bite my tongue.
It's not the script, is all I'm saying.
I know.
I don't know. You tell me. All right, so Jim Rome.
They kind of got what they deserved in that whole situation. That's what I'll say.
All right, then. Jim Rome, speaking on X earlier today, talked about whether or not Shedeur can be humble. Jake told me I'm going to be fired up with this one. Here we go.
Normally, 5th-round picks on 3-8 teams do not usually talk that much, or at all. But then again, 5th-round picks on 3-8 teams generally are not the son of Deion Sanders. So I understand why this is a unique situation and a unique player, but let's maybe do a little more than just beat up on the pathetic Raiders before we start telling everybody how great we are and how legendary we are, and just give me a whole season of reps and then check back with me. The defense had nearly as many sacks as you completed passes, dude. So maybe we chill with the me stuff. Beating them doesn't really prove anything, no matter how badly some of you want it to prove that you were right once and for all.
I just want to make a bunch of Jim Rome jokes. That's why we can't play Jim Rome clips anymore.
Rack 'em.
With clones. I just want to do. It's all I want to do. All right. Was there anything that you heard there that led you to believe that Jim Rome was right? That Shedeur shouldn't have been talking the way that he was talking? And I saw some people getting on this morning. By the way, the idea that who does Shedeur think he is to say that he's going to get all the starting reps in an offseason? We're not even guaranteed to get starting reps 2 weeks from now, nonetheless in the offseason.
All I know is if he was doing a tour stop again in Cleveland, he'd be wearing a number 12 jersey.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I think that's a fair thing to say. Because Jim Rome used to be like a big Browns guy, too, at one point, wasn't he?
I remember the tour stops he used to do, and he would wear jerseys.
Well, now he's on X, so he doesn't have to do those tour stops anymore.
Yeah,
he just kind of hangs out there on the internet. But does he have a valid point? Is there anything that you heard that was valid?
I understand. I disagree with him, but I understand where he's coming from, if that makes sense. And here's what I mean.
Yeah.
I get because I am one of those people, you know what, why don't you show me something before you run your mouth? Like, why don't you earn the right to run your mouth? But first of all, Shedeur didn't say anything disrespectful. Mm-hmm. I think that's important to point out here.
Yeah.
This is at the core of who he is as a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And look, this is his personality. And I think when you tell a kid, I'm going to call him a kid because I'm old enough to be his dad, but like when you tell a kid to change who they are, I think that messes with them a little bit.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I don't have any problem with anything Shedeur Sanders had to say. Or has had to say. I really don't, but I also understand those that have Shedeur fatigue, that he really...
Well, that's not fatigue. If you have that comment off of that, you don't know Shedeur Sanders at all.
Well,
like you need to get more informed with Shedeur if you have the take that Jim Rome had right there.
But there's a lot of hype around this kid, and he hasn't done a lot at this level.
But something you said that's important, though, is that you don't want people changing who they are, and I do think that's a very dangerous thing. And so I'll err on the side of being overconfident and having belief in yourself than I will trying to, I don't know, conform to what you think all the pundits want you to say and what all the talking heads want you to go ahead and talk about. Like, I will much rather have somebody go and be themselves and be who they actually are. This is who Shedeur's always been.
Did he call anyone out?
No.
Did he criticize anybody?
Not a single person.
Did he slam anybody?
Not at all.
Okay, then what's the problem?
Exactly right. But like everyone's, it's not just Jim Rome. Eric Mangini on First Things First, Fox Sports 1, he went down this same path as well. And you just don't hear these when J.J. McCarthy does it, this isn't the conversation. When J.J. McCarthy has that speech in the locker room where he looks like he's going insane, people just seem to love it. They grab it. Oh, this is awesome. But when Shedeur does it, apparently it's just being cocky, brash, arrogant, and all these other things. Here's Mangini.
Why? That's how we got here. That's how we kind of ended up in the 5th round, talking like that, presenting yourself like that. And I get it, you want to be confident, and that's fine. You should be confident, but you don't need to take it to this level. And it's one of those things where you had 11 completions, and the defense had 10 sacks. You were playing the Raiders, which just fired their offensive coordinator. Things are fairly dysfunctional with that group. And I get it, you had 1 week of practice. Baker Mayfield went to the Rams with less than 48 hours of practice and lit it up when he was there. So you were there for OTAs, you were there for training camp, you've been there all season, you've been in every single meeting, you were the backup quarterback, so you had 1 week of practice. How many weeks of practice do you need? Let's see, now that you get more than 1 week of practice, how dangerous you are. Baker woke up feeling dangerous, and he got shipped out. And then he was on 2 more teams before, he became dangerous again. I think that there's some value in humbleness.
All right, that is a massively dishonest take that he had. Let me tear that down first before we get to the other part of this. You can't bring up Baker's 4 days or 48 hours that he had in Los Angeles with Sean McVay and use that as it's apples to what Shedeur is going through with his first NFL start. Baker had started for years with an S. Not only in Cleveland, but also in Carolina, and had a million opportunities to play the position before he was asked to, in 48 hours, be a quarterback for a Rams team with Sean McVay. That is an apples and bowling balls type discussion, not apples to apples. Hated that part of the argument. The other part of this, though, Daryl, is what Mangini is trying to, at least I think, trying to stress the importance of making Shedeur be something that he isn't and making Shedeur be that 5th round pick that everybody wants him to be. He didn't get to the spot that he's at by acting like a 5th rounder. That's not who he is. And that's not who when he lays his head down at night, thinks that he is. And the moment that he starts to think that he is, in fact, that 5th rounder, then you've taken away something special, something unique, and something that I don't think can be replicated in a lot of people. I don't like to tear down and take away the things and the elements that make somebody special. And I think this is another one of those things that Shedeur has that makes him special and different, not one of these things that he should change.
I'm going to end Eric Mangini's criticism with this. He went 10-22 as Browns head coach, lasted 2 seasons here, and when you want to talk about being humble, I don't know, Eric, maybe if you were humble enough to actually hire a legitimate NFL GM, you would have lasted more than 2 seasons here, and you would have won more than just 10 games. So please don't talk to me about being humble.
Okay, you're not a Mangini fan.
Oh, I think he's a brilliant coach. And I think he could have been the best coach this franchise had since Bill Belichick. And arguably the best coach in the expansion era. But he wanted to be Bill Belichick Jr., okay?
Yeah.
Never wanted to explain anything. Hired George Kokinis to be his puppet. George Kokinis lasted all of a cup of coffee here, okay? The circumstances of his departure are so murky, we can't even legally talk about it, okay? And you're going to sit there and criticize Shedeur Sanders' lack of humbleness when you yourself, as the head coach of this franchise here, could not humble yourself to bring somebody in to help you run personnel because you thought you knew it all and loading the team up with ex-Jets and ex-Patriots who were past their prime but cost a ton of money was the way to go? Sorry, I'm not interested in that take from him.
All right.